Hello and welcome back to our very last step in the Introduction to Spatial Data Error and Uncertainty Lab. And in this step, we're going to take off from where we left off and perform a geoprocessing intersect, intersecting the fuzzy boundary with the parcels. And we're going to compare the difference between the geoprocessing intersect with the select by location intersect. Okay, so in the lab document, the instructions say to unselect the features from the parcel shapefile if you haven't already done so, and we are then going to use the geoprocessing intersect and create a new shapefile called uncertain parcels. So back in ArcMap, if we go to our Arc toolbox, and our analysis tools are where the geoprocessing tools are found, we are going to use the overlay intersect tool. And what this tool is going to do is, if you recall from geoprocessing, it creates a new shapefile with new topology. And so if we think about it and you want to explore and make your fuzzy boundary, if you go to your fuzzy boundary and make the display, let's say 42% transparent, just for fun, what we should find is a new shapefile where we have new boundaries created for just those parts and pieces and portions of the parcels that have are in common spatially with each other. So let's check it out. We're going to go to intersect and we're going to put our fuzzy boundary and drop in our Long Beach tax parcel role, and our new result will be called uncertain parcels. Click OK. And when you're done, you will have a new shapefile that, as we expected, represents just those parcels that share spatially a relationship with fuzzy boundary and the Long Beach parcels. So it's just those parcels. You can toggle it on and off and explore it. Now, the question is, what is the total area of these parcels? Now, they're not the entire parcel that we selected before. It's just a portion of those parcels. So if we go into uncertain parcels and go to its attribute table and move over to our area fields, what happens if we just, right after doing the geoprocessing, calculate statistics? What do we see? Well, we see that huge number that we saw before. That number, does that make sense? When we did geoprocessing intersect compared to, if we go to statistics on the kilometers, it gives us the exact same area that we achieved using the select by location intersect. I'm going to pause right now and go back to our select by location intersect. So let's go to select by location. We're going to select features from parcels that intersect the fuzzy boundary and apply. So I'm doing this to show you that the two intersect commands produce different geometry, but unless you fix the result of the geoprocessing command, you're going to have the exact same area calculated. So what ArcGIS is doing is, in this uncertain parcel result, it's not able to reevaluate, or doesn't by default recalculate geometry. So what it's showing in just this small part of the parcel is it's returning the same attribute information from the input. So it's giving you the same attributes from that input parcel. So let me do that again. This is the tax roll. If I scroll down, just this parcel as an example, here's the area in square kilometers and acres on the entire parcel. And here's the area on just, see how it's flashing? I'm just grabbing that little piece of it. It's the exact same. So this is an important point that I'm trying to make and trying to demonstrate. It's the exact same area. So ArcGIS does not know that it needs to recalculate the geometry. So you need to do that yourself and make sure that you always do that when you conduct a geoprocessing operation. So what we need to do now is go back into our uncertain parcels and open its attribute table and go over to all of our area fields and recalculate geometry. So if I go to meters squared and I go to calculate geometry, I'm going to change that to square meters and watch as these change. And now if I do my statistics on that attribute field, my area is much different. I'm going to do the same for calculate geometry. I'm recalculating geometry on these fields to correct it, and here I have to change it to square kilometers. And these values change as well, and now I'm going to acres and I'm going to calculate geometry. And I'm doing this on my uncertain parcels. So the area in square meters, if I go to statistics, that of these parcels that are potentially impacted by the fuzzy boundary is much different now from the area from select by location. It's 16 square kilometers versus 81 square kilometers. So it's important to recognize that ArcGIS by default doesn't fix that, and you need to do that if you're calculating area and if area is of interest to you in the results of a geoprocessing operation. So if we go back to our questions, what is the total area of the parcels that falls within the uncertain boundary using Geoprocessing Intersect? Well, if you didn't recalculate geometry, you'd have the same answer that you did using Intersect Select by Location. It should be different. Is your answer to question 6 the same or different? It's different because you actually went through the process of recalculating geometry. But I want to make sure that you understand the difference between Intersect using geoprocessing and select by location, why it's important to recalculate geometry after performing a geoprocessing operation. So when you submit your write-up, please make sure that you address that. And here you can do a screenshot, you can show the difference. Here's what Geoprocessing Intersect produces versus select by location, and that's another purpose of this assignment, is to demonstrate that. Okay, so in conclusion, just to summarize all of the 4 steps that you undertook in this lab, we used this exercise as a way of exploring the FEMA flood zone map. And FEMA said that their maps have a potential positional accuracy of plus or minus 38 feet. So we explored the FEMA flood zone map, we selected by attribute to get the high-risk flood zones, and then buffered those high-risk flood zones by plus 38 feet and minus 38 feet. And we used that buffer and erased one from the other so that we just had that boundary of fuzziness, or that area that might be uncertain given the positional accuracy issues. And then we used select by location to explore the results using intersect and completely within, just to get a sense of how those 2 select by location options can give you different results. And then we used geoprocessing to explore how geoprocessing differs when you use Geoprocessing Intersect from the select by location intersect. So to summarize, in the last paragraph here of the conclusions, we represent features using discrete boundaries, but knowing that there's positional accuracy issues associated with scale, these discrete boundaries are often fuzzy, and ArcGIS doesn't do a very good job of representing that. So this lab gives us one way of accounting for that by using the positional accuracy associated with the FEMA flood zone map to create this fuzzy boundary, and then look at how this fuzzy boundary impacts the parcels using 3 different ArcGIS functions: select by location intersect, select by location completely within, and geoprocessing intersect. What you will turn in for this assignment are the questions included in the lab, and some of these answers you can obtain from the video, questions 1 through 7 that we went through, and then I've included some additional thought questions in the Word document because I want you to reflect on the concepts that we covered through the lecture in the lab and answer some of these additional thought questions. Consider the methods introduced here. What might you apply it to? What did you understand about accuracy before and after the lecture? Can you come up with other ways other than this buffer that we did of communicating and visualizing this to a decision maker? And so on. So please read through these additional thought questions, and I look forward to your responses. Thank you. And I hope that this first experiment in online delivery was useful and helpful, and please feel free to send me your feedback.